When the 1901 census was put on the internet a few weeks back, 20 million people tried to look at it. The site crashed and it hasn't reappeared. It's still out of action. It does rather indicate how much interest there is in researching family trees, as Rob's been finding out.
Yeah, the thing is, Adrian, you've got to be worried about what they might find out, and Anthony here has been researching some of the Pittam background. I'm extremely worried about what he might turn up. Well, I gave Anthony here the briefest of details about my background. I knew that my granddad was a shipyard worker on Tyneside, and that my great-granddad was also a shipyard worker who family legends said had moved up from Sussex. So, how did you get on, Anthony?
Well, we haven't found any black sheep for you yet, but we have found some really interesting things.
I'm amazed. I would have thought they were all black sheep, to be honest.
Nah, not at all. Here we've got the marriage certificate of your ancestor James, your great-grandfather, up in Newcastle. He married someone with a marvellous name, Ellen Elizabeth Meatyard.
Meatyard?
Which is an incredible surname. It's actually a medieval measuring stick.
Oh,
so it's obviously
amazing.
what one of your ancestors did in the past.
Yeah.
So James was up in... Yeah, he was up in Newcastle then. But you've heard about the 1901 census. You've heard that hardly anyone's been able to look at it yet. But we've got access to it. And here is your family, the Pittam family. There's James Pittam, aged 17.
Yep.
And they were actually in East Sussex. They weren't in Brighton. Yeah. They were just down the coast in Newhaven.
Yeah.
And I think probably up in Tyneside, the easiest thing is to say, I come from Brighton.
Well, it's all the same up there, you see.
Well, yeah. So basically, there's James, he's 17, he was born in Newhaven, and we've also got his parents, Joseph Pittam, who was a 50-year-old, so he was born about 1851, in Greenwich, in Kent.
Oh, right.
His mother, interestingly, Joseph's wife, did come from Sunderland, so that's obviously where the family link comes. We've also gone back to the birth certificate of James, and that shows that Joseph's wife, Jane, was actually called Jane Snowball Kidd.
Snowball Kidd.
So you've got two really good, interesting names.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's a Snowball Kidd.
Yeah. Now, we haven't had time to trace further back, but we have got some quite interesting local connections for you, because the surname Pittam, there are a number of possibilities of what it could mean. But just down the road from Canterbury here is a village called Pettam, and we think it's quite likely, given that James came from Greenwich, that your ancestors could have left Pettam to become Pittam in the Middle Ages.
So, yeah, my family actually came from around the Kent area. It's absolutely amazing, that, isn't it? Yeah. And you've managed to do that. Well, I told you all this about 2 weeks ago, so how difficult was it to track that kind of thing down? This is typically what you do, is it? Yeah,
this is our sort of bread and butter, really. I'm getting birth and marriage certificates to go back to 1837, which is when they started. And using censuses, well, obviously 1901's brand new, only came out a few weeks ago, and earlier censuses to go back further back, and also to tell you whereabouts people came from before 1837. And that's the point we would then go to parish registers, which could take us back several hundred years.
And how popular has it all become then?
It's become very, very popular. In the last 40 years, a lot of records have gone into record offices, making them accessible to normal people rather than just the very rich. And also in the last 10 years, of course, the internet's taken off, and there are lots of indexes going on the internet. Now, they're not always very good, not always very accurate. We do rely on these original records. But it's certainly made a lot more people think of getting started.